So you start with a blank wall or a blank canvas. And then as a painter, your tools of the trade are your brush and your colored paints and stuff like that. In route setting, it's your drill and your holds. It's not only something you're viewing and visually appreciating. With route setting, you can actually interact with it, and it's a full body interaction. Your mind is working to figure out the route. Your body is working with your mind to get through it. We're creating movement. My name's Cienna Lopunshinsky. Been rock climbing for about 8 years now, started in 2017. As a person, I've always loved being outdoors and being in nature. I grew up camping, fishing, hiking with my parents, and I've grown up with a profound love and respect for Mother Nature and everything that she has to offer. I think it was about 2 years into it that I finally kind of had a group at the gym that I started at, which was Rock City. I got introduced to outdoor climbing, which I didn't even know was a thing. They took me out to Blac Mountain for the first time, and that first day that we went out there, it was snow everywhere. Like, it had just snowed the night before. It was beautiful and white and in the forest, and then my heart like exploded for being out there and climbing, and I was like, wow, you guys come out here all the time to do this? Like, I want to do this. It grabbed me so fast, and I was completely obsessed with it after that. About 3 years of climbing at Rock City, I met some people through going to college, and those two guys, they told me about this gym when it was the Factory. And they're like, yeah, if you like that gym, you'll probably like this gym. It has a very homey vibe, great community sense. So I came here, climbed with them for a little bit, and then quickly after that, I transitioned gyms. Factory used to do hold washing on Sundays, and if you wash holds as a volunteer on Sundays, then you get 1 month free of climbing. And as a cheap climber, I was like, that's perfect. And while I was doing that, COVID happened, and they transitioned from Factory to Hangar 18. Once they transitioned, then they needed more staff. So I got a job as front desk, did that for a couple years. And while I was doing that, I also started forerunning with the group that was here setting at the time. Forerunning being trying the routes, as whether it's a volunteer basis or the route setters actively forerunning and trying the routes before we open it up to the public, and just making the small tweaks that we think need to be adjusted to make it more enjoyable or just be a better climb overall. And it's a whole team process. So the whole time I'm talking with the setters, and they're asking like, oh, like, can you reach this? Because I am short, which was helpful. Being a short female was actually one of the few times that that's benefited me in real life. They would ask me for my opinion, I would give them my opinion, and then we'd work together to find a common consensus for the route itself. And that started to spark my passion of route setting, because when I first started climbing, I didn't know that people put holds on the wall. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I would just show up to the gym and be like, oh, cool, new routes, let's get it. I started to become more intrigued with the whole process and the mindset behind it, and what it takes to be a route setter. So I kept bugging them after a while, and I was like, hey, do you need another route setter? I'm a short female, you don't have any of those. So I bugged them for a few years, and I became friends with Anthony, our head setter. I became friends with Kyle Owen, who's now like the overseer for all of Hangar setters in general. As time and opportunity went on and things combined, that's when they asked me if I wanted to be a route setter with them. And I said, absolutely. With setting, there has to be a balance between the aesthetic look of it and then the actual flow of the climb and the way that it's climbed and enjoyed by the participant or the climber. I definitely have my strengths and weaknesses when it comes to specific styles of setting. And in this gym, luckily it works towards my strengths, where we all like to set outdoorsy style climbs, whether it's technique or like the flow of the climb. It feels very similar, at least we're hoping, to climbing on actual rock and places that other people have developed. And then there's other styles of climbing, like competition climbing. That's something that I struggle with. It's a very foreign movement for me to try and dynamically jump from hold to hold, but I'm doing my best. I love incorporating mimicking movements that I've personally climbed outdoors, whether it's in Joshua Tree, Blac Mountain, Bishop, Yosemite, whatever. I think it's a very unique thing to be able to do as a setter, to get so inspired by a climb outdoors that you want to bring it indoors for everybody else to try, because whether they get out there or not, at least they're trying that similar movement and it feels the same. And we can't mimic everything, obviously, but getting close enough to give people that kind of like that happy medium of like, you're climbing indoors, can't get outdoors, let me just kind of bring it to you. There's people that can climb a lot and people that can climb for years on end and years on end. But if you don't understand movement and kind of what your body is capable of, whether you're physically capable of finishing a climb or whatever, the fact that you understand and can visualize the movement of that on the wall is a very specific thing. A lot of people ask if to be a route setter, if I have to, one, climb all the climbs that I set. No, I cannot. I will not. And then two, if you have to be physically strong. And I think that's a huge misconception with climbing in general, but with setting as well. I'm definitely not the strongest climber in this gym. I'm not the strongest female in this gym by any means. And that's a huge thing with climbing in general. Everyone thinks that climbers are like, oh, you're fucking jacked, bro. Like, you're huge. And that's not it. And I always tell people that when they come in here for the first time, and I would teach intro classes and stuff. It's not about whether you're jacked and ripped to the bone, because climbing isn't muscle strength only. It is also understanding your technique, your movement, footwork, tension, a good headspace more than anything. It's a 50-50 with physical strength and mental strength. And that also goes with setting as well. Because there are definitely days where if I was somebody that had less mental strength than I like to think that I do, there would be days where I'm setting and I'd get pissed off, or something's not making sense, or just mentally I'm not able to work my way through the route that I'm trying to set, and that would be my downfall. So you have to have the balance of both. I think the most intimidating thing starting to set was, this is a gym that I've spent a lot of time in before I started working on the setting team. All of my friends climb here. They're strong. They are the people that I look up to, because I'm like, wow, these are the good climbers. Like, their technique, their skill, the amount of time and years that they've been climbing, these are like the people that I see as like the good climbers, as my inspiration. And to know that I was gonna be setting routes for them where I don't see myself like on the same level of them, I was like, I hope that I can give them routes that are good enough for them, that inspire them as much as they inspire me, because that's ultimately what we're doing this job for. As much as it is a personally creative experience and putting routes up on the wall, you're doing it for the gym. You're doing it for the community. This is a skill and a service that you're providing so that other people can enjoy what you're doing. So at the end of the day, I just hope that people are enjoying the routes that I'm setting and having fun. I think that's going to be the next big step in route setting, is bringing out us grungy route setters from the behind the scenes to the front of the line and being like, these are the people that are putting in literal blood, sweat, and tears to make the gyms what they are and to create something that's enjoyable for everybody. I think as a personal stance for route setting, I'm a female and I'm short. Subjectively, I would say that I'm strong because of my experience route setting and climbing as much as I have. I've definitely become a better climber, but I still run into my own barriers. Like, for instance, our super roof that we have here, this huge overhanging section of our wall. This pad's here and the roof is here and I'm trying to set. I literally can't reach the roof on my own toes. So I have to use a mini ladder the entire time, and then the big ladder once I get out of the roof, versus like the guys that we have, they're 6 foot something. They can just reach up and do it. That's like small, like day-to-day nuances that I notice. At the end of the day, I might be a little bit more taxed than they are, but it also pushes me to prove myself for myself that I can do the things that these guys are doing, because I am a female in a male-dominated world, heavily male-dominated world. And I was lucky enough to be friends with my team before I became part of the setting team. A lot of women I know, and I've heard stories, they don't have a good experience getting into the setting world. I've heard they've put up routes and then their head setter will come over, and being a male, not wanting a female on the team in the first place, they get upset and they tell them to take it all down. So a whole day of work goes to nothing because somebody can't maybe get off their high horse or is uncomfortable with the female being a setter or whatever it is. Maybe one of the main things I've seen is that within recent years, and it kind of involves like acceptance and inclusivity, females in a route setting atmosphere, there have been more like woman-held clinics, intro to setting for females, different ways to get other females inspired and into it without having to step directly into the pond of just males in their gym. And I was lucky enough to be friends with my team before I became part of the setting team. But I can only imagine what it's like if you don't know the people that you're working with as well as I do. I think that Mother Nature is the ultimate creative mastermind in anything in life. All of the colors that we see, they have all originated from nature and what she's provided. The movement on the wall that we're creating is, at least for me, all inspired from what I've learned outside. Having access to the outdoors and being able to do a hobby like climbing that we love so much in that atmosphere is amazing. And I'm hoping that the people that are out there appreciate it as much as I do, to also be aware that our access to these areas, some of them have become very restricted because some climbers are not taking accountability and respecting nature and the outdoors as we should. Leave no trace. That very common saying, leave no trace. Leave it the way that you found it. Don't leave your trash, don't leave your climbing tape, brush your ticks. Don't throw your crash pads or your backpacks onto a bush. You're squishing plants. Like, it's disheartening to watch and see it when people do it in crags, because whether it's lack of knowledge and knowing, or whether it's lack of caring, you're destroying something that everyone holds so valuable and is very special for us to be able to appreciate and do. And I appreciate all the stewards that are out there, like the Bishop Crag stewards, that take care of these places when climbers come through and don't respect it as they should. And that's not just for like a climbing's sake. If we don't take care of this entire planet, if we treat it the way that some people treat climbing crags, it's not going to sustain. We have to put in the effort to constantly help nature and be the people taking care of it, because we are a part of it. If you're going to treat it like it's disposable, then it will be. So just taking care of the crag when you go outdoors and being mindful of what you're doing and the species that you're affecting, I think that's one of the most important messages that I could give to people.